It's time for the chaos to cease.
Time to open yourself to peace.
From the hours you've put in.
To the next shift you begin.
From the endless pursuit of release.
That finds the worst unleashed.
Transform the ugly into a win.
Get to know your shield within. We'll go into you talking about...
We're recording.
Hi, Mark.
Hi, David. How are you today?
I'm good, my man. How about you?
Yeah, we're doing well.
Awesome.
Welcome to episode 2 of The Shield Within. I'm Marc the Cop.
I'm David Buchanan.
We need to give you a name.
Okay.
We should call you Dr. David, I think.
Dr. David? Okay.
You're not a real doctor, right?
No, and not in any shape, way, or form.
Nor
No.
Did you sleep at a Holiday Inn last night?
Nor did I sleep.
Okay. All right.
Right.
I think Dr. David has a good ring. What do you think?
Sounds good. We can.
Do you think we would be scamming our listeners if we...
We'll make sure that we're really clear on the Spotify and so all the other information that he's not a real doctor.
Right.
Whereas you are a real cop.
I am a real cop. Yeah. Recently retired, but you're a licensed clinical therapist?
Licensed clinical counselor in the state of Ohio.
Cool.
So,
and supervisor?
Yes, with supervisory designation, which meant that I, during my career, supervised other students who are getting their licensed clinical counselor license.
What is the difference between a psychiatrist and what you do?
Psychiatrists are medical doctors first, and their role in the whole mental health service array is to prescribe medication. And so if an individual, that I would see in my office, more typically would be on like an antidepressant or maybe something for anxiety. Sometimes some other things were involved, but usually it was those two categories. What I do is pure therapy. I don't do medication. I didn't go to medical school. The whole thrust of clinical counseling is the actual therapy work.
Oh, okay.
Not the assessment or the medication or the other things that the other professionals do. Social workers and clinical counselors basically kind of do the same kind of activity of doing therapy and doing counseling, basically.
Okay, so what's the difference between you and a social worker?
The training is extremely similar. The two degrees are more or less functionally equivalent. I think there could probably be some debate there among various folks, but in my estimation, it's essentially about the same. And in certain locations, I suppose you could maybe say that a social work degree has more to it than counseling. But I think essentially counselors and social workers both work in the same kind of an office, doing therapy, making appointments for people who want psychotherapy and counseling. And so that's basically what therapists and counselors do.
Okay, so it's a lot along to say. Is there more training for what you do than versus what a social worker does?
About the same. We both end up with master's degrees. Now, we can go on and get PhDs, but there's not a fantastic amount of advantage in that unless you want to teach at a big university or something.
Oh, okay.
But a master's degree social worker and a master's degree clinical counselor are going to have roughly the same kind of professional lives based on, their own choices as individuals and stuff. But they'll have roughly the same kind of income, same kind of professional activities to choose from.
Okay, very good. The question came up after episode 1 was that Joel asked you, how do you keep, or how do you, I don't want to say, my thought process is, how do you deal with someone if you have a really rough case and when you walk out the door? How do you leave that at work?
Well, I learned really early on. First job I ever had was at a residential treatment center in Indiana. And there was an incident that occurred there right before Christmas vacation where a kid there that I was, I was just a teacher's aide in a reading classroom. But this kid and I we just connected. And he was kind of a badass kid from a remarkable family history, unlike anything I've ever heard since. Real bright. And could organize the other kids in the unit he was in into a formidable force. So
he was kind of a group leader then, huh?
Absolutely.
Oh, wow.
Had a little charisma on him. He was a neat guy. I liked him a lot, respected him a lot, admired him, but he was a bad boy. And so he made things happen.
Okay, so bad boy as in he was ornery, or bad boy as
he was criminal.
Okay, so as in like a pre-serial killer, or just
not that level. I don't
bad
think.
to the bone, or do you think he unchecked could have done a lot worse things?
He was the guy that sits back in his office and orders people to go do stuff for him.
So he'd been more like a junior mob boss.
Exactly.
Okay, all right.
And so he arranged
No empathy?
None.
Okay.
But I got to him.
Oh, that's good.
And the way that I got to him was kind of just between him and me. And we connected, and he ended up in lockup a lot, and I ended up going into lockup and talking to him when nobody else would. No, he was not a popular individual.
Okay.
And so staff worried about him.
Well, push pause.
Yeah.
Lockup is mean you're in solitary,
Yes.
or you're behind the bars?
He was in a very small solitary confined area with an electronic lock.
Oh, all right.
And one evening right before Christmas vacation, I went in there to talk to him as he was eating dinner. And as did happen when he and I did talk, there was some provocation involved, and he got really pissed off. And it was like he threw his food on me, hit me, shoved me, ran out of the room, sobbing. And he never stopped.
Okay.
And, the staff went apeshit, and I ran out of the room and down the hall to where he was. And he had turned over 3 metal bunk beds in the room he was in currently.
He was raging.
He was raging and sobbing. He was standing at the window sobbing when I walked into the room. And my adrenaline was rushing. And it was
of course.
That afternoon, I stayed with him for about another 2 minutes till the staff got down there like, no, you're leaving now. And so they just took care of everything from that point on. And I was not allowed to be around. I mean, I went on vacation, Christmas vacation. When I came back, it was like, why don't you just stay away from him for a while?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But when he had the chance, he said to me, you really connected. It was really a nice interchange, but we never worked together again. Point was, from that, I got up from that event and I went out to my car and I just thought, man, I can't do this anymore, man. I mean, if this job is going to be like this, I'm going to go to law school.
Right.
So on the way home and over that Christmas vacation, it was like, I have got to do something with me that creates a boundary between my life that is going to be like this, and I'm choosing it, and the life when I go home. And so I developed a series of mental attitudes, very much kind of like when I would go through the day, I would put my emotions into a pack, like a battery pack in my back pocket. Put my rage there, put my tears there, put my anxiety there, put it all there. And at the end of the day, I would put the right music on the radio or my cassette or whatever was in my car at that time. And then I would expel that emotion by listening to the music. And by the time I got home, 20 minutes, 30 minutes later, sometimes just drive around until it was spent.
Yeah, okay.
The emotion would be gone, and I could have a nice evening.
Oh, good.
So there's a way of just requiring yourself to, I have to feed me in order to have more to give others. And if I'm going to be giving the rest of my life, I got to feed me, or I ain't got shit.
Oh, yeah.
So
that was one thing that you and I connected on when I was seeing you was music, and we started talking about. I remember the day I talked about John Lee Hooker, and your face lit up.
Exactly.
Which was after I stopped being your client, you made some really wonderful CDs for me, and you'd actually dropped by and dropped off a double album set of John Lee Hooker, which I thought that was absolutely cool, which I still have to this day. I cherish it quite a bit. Awesome, bro. Yes, it was nice to have that common ground. We still do. Yeah, absolutely.
Music is a therapeutic tool and a joy all at the same time.
Well, right. And then, that's like with my connection with my peers at the IT List. Yeah. case you want to listen to us, theItlistPodcast.com or Facebook /theItlistPodcast. You can also find us on Facebook at Facebook /The Shield Within. We also have our website, which is theshieldwithin.com. If you're interested and you are in need, or you want to talk to David and hire him, you can go to lessonslearnedcoaching.com. lessonslearnedcoaching.com. If you go to our website and you hit the button for coaching, that's going to take you straight to David Buchanan, a.k.a. Dr. David. We are soon to have Patreon coming on. Oh, cool. We haven't got that set up yet, but if you like what you hear and you want to help support us and our show, we will talk about that later. But please go out on social media, like and share our stuff. The more interaction that you have with us, it gets our name out there and gets our show out there.
Yeah.
Our first episode, we dropped Sunday. Thank you all very much for your attention.
Very much.
Oh my gosh, I was blown away with the phone calls and the texts I got. So, one friend called and said, "Oh wow, I didn't know that about you." And the one thing I want to give the people for this show, although I do have a little bit of a raunchy sense of humor, I got that from the first episode. And if you listen to the It List podcast, I go into a deep dive there. But you got to be real.
Yeah.
And that was the commitment that we made, you and I together as colleagues, when we decided to do this show.
Yes.
We're going to be real.
That's right.
And I decided that I didn't have any resources when, I'm sitting there in my house with a gun in my mouth. What the fuck happened? So fast forward, that was in 2008. So do the math. I'm tired. I've taught driving all day today, so I'm a little exhausted. First thing I did since I walked in the house was made David and I some coffee. But, where we got here today is to give you, our listener, a list of resources. If you call or if you send an email or a IM, we will get you to where you need to be. There's a wealth of wonderful therapists and psychiatrists that are right here in the Dayton, Ohio area.
Right.
And we're mostly focusing right here in our area to bring healing here. The great thing about it is, I had a friend who met you this weekend at a party, and it was a retirement party for one of our mutual friends. We hope to have him on the show. Mr. Hat, we will call him for now. But our colleague, his wife spoke to you, and they're currently in therapy, and they made a comment, and she said, "Oh my God, I talked to David for 10 minutes. I got more out of our 10-minute conversation with you than I did with 7 or 8 sessions, hour-long sessions with another therapist." So let's talk about that real quick. If you're with someone and you're just not getting what you need therapy-wise,
right,
guys and gals, it's okay to say, you know what, I don't think this is working.
Absolutely.
It's not working for me.
Right.
Have you had that in your experience?
It's a necessity to think that way, bro. I love that frame of reference because it's such an important thing. It's not like choosing a mate, but it's kind of close.
Well, right, because I need to be able to trust you.
Exactly.
I need to be able to have a rapport with you because I've had people say, well, I'm not going to go in there and pour my heart out to this motherfucker. I don't even know him. I'm like, right. How many sessions did you have with them? 2. Get the fuck out of here, man. You ain't going to get shit out of fucking 2 sessions with a therapist or a psychiatrist.
That's right.
Well, how long you been in therapy? I said, 2010's when I started. And they're like, jaw drop. What? Yeah. I'm still going. Really? Yeah. I mean, I did some double barrel therapy sessions just last week. Well, post Super Bowl, had some things going on in my life, a major change, and I saw my primary therapist, who I like to consider him as he's my general practitioner doctor. He's my DO.
Very good.
I got a little foot fungus. I go see Dr. David Cox there in Vandalia, but if I need a specialty, like an ear, nose, and throat specialist, I go to someone. He refers me to someone with a little more specialty.
Right.
So, my specialist is Dr. Molly Hall in Kettering. She's wonderful. Thank you for listening, Dr. Hall. I tell you what, and not that my current therapist doesn't fix things, because we've done a lot of good work together.
Right.
After I left you, I love you, brother.
Yes.
We're friends now, so
Yes.
obviously we can't have that
Right.
relationship anymore because I give a fuck what you think about me. But just so everyone knows, your client-therapist relationship is one way. Me to you. Mm-hmm. It should never be a two-way street. Right. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely.
And that's the only way it's going to work, correct?
Yeah. The energy becomes an exchange, but the information is one way.
Okay.
Both people have to put in energy to make the partnership move. And so the therapist has to come in ready to rock and roll.
Correct.
And the client needs to come in ready to rock and roll. But who's going to say the number of words? It's going to be way more words from the client's mouth than the therapist's mouth. And so the therapist, that work that energy, I should say, is just as vital, because if I'm sitting there and I'm passive and I'm not really paying attention,
right,
I'm not doing shit for you.
Well, and that's kind of the stereotypical TV psychiatrist who's just sitting there in a chair, kind of bored or writing notes, and the person's there. I always think about in the series Mad Men, when Don Draper's wife's at the therapist and she's laying there and she's just pouring her heart out. And in this show, the guy could just give two fucks.
Yes.
All right, our time's up. We'll see you next week. And she goes out. She's like, what the fuck was that?
Yeah.
So I think that most people get that set in their head.
Exactly.
And it's not that way at all.
No.
Not that way at all.
No.
So my specialist, like Molly Hall, I went down and saw her. And I tell you what, it's like taking a deck of cards, walking in your living room. I'm the deck of cards. Just go in there and just 52 pickup. Just throw them fuckers all over the room.
Gotcha.
I walk in the door at Molly's office, and when I leave, the deck is picked up. It's all sorted by suit, lowest to highest, and in a nice little bundle. I can walk out the door. And I'm like, what the fuck do you do? Now, Molly, Dr. Hall, rather, I don't want to disrespect her, she was a full-bird colonel in the Air Force. Mm-hmm. Very proud. Mm-hmm. I'm very proud of her that my higher power, I believe in God, I'm a Christian. The universe led me to her door. Mm-hmm. And it's just been a wonderful relationship ever since then. Mm-hmm. And you got out of the game for a while.
I did.
And a year ago, year and 3 months, no, December of 2020. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was COVID time, wasn't it?
Right.
We met, I went to Florida, and we met at a wonderful seaside cafe, crab shack, or whatever. And we, just being old friends. And I'm like, hey, dude, I'm down here. And you're like, great, dude, we're going to meet here. So we're on Clearwater Beach.
Yeah.
I remember it vividly. It was a beautiful afternoon.
Oh, beautiful. Yep.
And we're talking about that. Mm-hmm. And I told you what Molly was charging.
Right.
And your fucking jaw hit. You're like, what? And I remember what I told you. I said, bro, the world needs you. Mm-hmm. You need to get back in the game.
Yeah, right.
Because we need you. And you're like, nah, man, I'm retired. And you were doing interviews for some life book company.
Right.
Big fan of your other podcast, Mark.
It's true.
You're like, man, I put the fucking hit list on and I go do my thing, which was fun. But, because, the hit list is a comedy show.
Right.
And, we are kind of our theory here on this show is going to be healing through humor. But, in our discussion there, and of course, this, what did we say? How did we come up with this?
The idea?
Yeah. How do we come up with the shield within?
Oh, boy. We both have one of our common grounds is that we both have an appreciation at the very least and a deep respect for people who do first responder work. Policemen, right. Firemen, EMS, ER nurses. Those are the four categories that I found most compelling. And the needs of those people. They're just walking around with their daily lives taken apart and done 52 pickup in the living room. It's like every shift, every day, every week, every month. Somebody needs to open a door for those folks to walk in And there's plenty of trauma therapists, thank God. Many
Yes.
more than there was 10 years ago.
Oh, yes.
But I think we really have a passion for communicating what we are to the general public. If you have somebody in need who's in the first responder, and you have a therapist with an open door who actually kind of like more or less knows what they're doing,
Yes, that's key.
then folks, we can take care of you.
Yeah, and it's simple to fix.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing. I was talking about a friend of mine, and I didn't stop being his friend. He stopped being mine.
Yeah.
He is, in my opinion, ill.
Yeah.
And he's not dealing with it well. And, you just sit outside and you watch these people struggling, and it's like, dude, come on. And the purpose of the Shield Within is that we as first responders, we're always quick to go help someone else.
Yes.
And we always seem to be the last person to help us.
Very good.
I'm very good at helping other people. And as FD Donnie or producer Donnie now for the Shield Within, likes to say, he's like, I know this guy. He's really good at giving advice. He's really shitty at taking his own. But it's finding that common ground and finding your way to therapy and realizing, therapy isn't bad.
Right.
Doesn't mean you're fucking nuts.
Right.
Doesn't mean you're going to do it forever.
Right.
But when you're a first responder,
Yes.
like with me, I suffer from cumulative stress and PTSD. I've had major events that we're going to get into later episodes. And we were talking about Louis on the last event.
Right.
I was talking about that's the first time my Apple Cart flipped ever. Let me tell you guys, it's been more than once. So, several Apple Carts flip over, and then you're still being bombarded with trauma.
Yes.
My thing is dead people. And I did a shit ton of death notifications. That's heavy, bro.
Absolutely.
I don't mind the dead body laying there. That's bad enough. But when you're taking knuckle sandwiches or you're ruining someone's day, life, you're changing their life. I know people who have suffered the trauma of the loss of a parent, and it fucks them up forever.
Yes.
Guess what? I'm the guy that's telling you that.
Exactly.
You don't think I don't carry that energy out of that house?
Exactly.
I do. I do.
Yes.
And the worst thing that I ever did, I had some stupid old sergeant, son, don't go home and tell your wife that stuff. She just won't understand it. You keep that to yourself. That sucks, dude. I'm here to tell everybody, your husband or your wife may not understand what you just saw.
Right.
For example, I watched a woman burn to death.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
fucked me up. Did I go home and tell my wife about it? No.
No.
I separated myself from her.
Exactly.
I became an isolationist. And where you need to find that rock. So let's step back.
Yes. Beautiful.
Let's talk about you and I,
Yeah.
our relationship.
Yeah.
I had a suicide attempt to bring everyone up to speed.
Yeah.
I called my good friend Brian Gray.
Yeah.
And Brian, thanks for listening. And he said, let me introduce you to my friend David. So as we talked about in episode 1, we're just going to fast forward and we're going to talk about that time between calling you
Yes.
and actually seeing you.
Right. Exactly. That's a really important time for me, the therapist, knowing what you've been through the last, let's say, couple of months, 3 months in between the time you talk to the first person and the time you actually walk in that door.
Right.
That period of time becomes an important period for the therapist to know, just like as currently in as much detail as possible, what's been happening lately.
Okay.
And so I'm wondering, first of all, like, you went to see Brian. And you were a blithering idiot. I think you were reserved.
Man, we got deep into a bottle. Of course, Brian doesn't drink good booze. Brian, you cheap fuck. Buy some decent booze. He drinks Canadian Mist out of a plastic bottle and a screw on top. You know what he tells me? Tastes just like Crown Royal. Brian, it doesn't. It tastes like turpentine. But anyway, go
I
ahead.
hope he doesn't drink it out of a sippy cup. So After that happened, I'm wondering, like,
That's funny.
I'm wondering, like, did it occur to you at any point in that gap of time, I need to tell my wife that I'm going to start therapy?
Okay, so at that point, no, we were separated.
Aha.
Okay, so what we did was the kids stayed in the big house.
Okay.
I moved in with my good friend down in Huber, who's a police officer, and she rented a house in Franklin by her mother. So we split the week, 4 and 3.
Wow. Okay.
So week 1, she was there 4 days. Mm-hmm. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Mm-hmm. And then she would go to her house, and I would come home on Friday. Mm-hmm. I'd spend the weekend with them. Mm-hmm. And then the next week we'd flip.
We'd switch.
So, yeah, I forget how we switched it. But every other, so the kids stayed there. They stayed stable. So what most parents do is, oh, no, we got to, we're going to uproot your life. We're going to take you out of your room. You're going to have 2 rooms now, blah, blah, blah. We're like, no, this is our problem.
Yeah.
Okay. It wasn't really our problem. It was my problem. And I didn't think it was my problem, but it was my problem. Just like being an alcoholic, you have to admit you got a fucking problem. So anyway, I didn't tell her. This discussion was just between me and Brian.
Okay.
I didn't dare fucking tell anybody at work.
Oh.
There's people, and listen to me, first responders, especially new cops, new firefighters. Trust has to be earned. Mm-hmm. Trust has to be earned. Mm-hmm. And I compare people in my life just like change in your pocket. If I just meet you, hi, I'm Marc the Cop. It's nice to meet you. Yeah, I know who you are. You're a penny to me. Mm-hmm. As you get closer to me, your worth or your value grows.
Beautiful.
So you can be a nickel. Mm-hmm. You can be a dime. You can be a quarter. Mm-hmm. You can be a 50-cent piece. Or you could be a silver dollar. Mm. And if I really love you and like you, I will buy you a silver dollar, hopefully in the year in which you were born. Mm-hmm. But there's a period there for people that I know that didn't make silver dollars.
Right. Right.
I always tell everybody I would rather have one silver dollar in my pocket than 4 quarters. So silver dollar people, and you know who you are out there, there's 3 of them. Those people are very important to me. Mm-hmm. And I tell them everything. But you got to be real. Just like with this podcast. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I'm not going to bullshit anyone. I'm going to tell you my story. Because I think my story's fucked up. And trust me, guys, one of your clients, which, wow, made the comment. Can I share that?
Sure, please.
If he can dig out of that hole.
Yes.
I know I can. So thank you very much for listening.
Yeah.
And I had 2 stories of inspiration this week that I didn't know about. That was one of them. Yeah. And I had another one of a young lady that is getting into law enforcement. And they're a friend of my daughter's, and they had said, I want to be a cop like Marc. Wow. That's what I had no idea. I'm like, man, why didn't you tell me this sooner? And I was on the job. And she's like, oh, yeah, he's so nice. He would come up on Sunday nights, and because she worked in the local jail here in Miami County. Okay. And I always stopped by Tim Hortons and bought a box of donut holes. I'd walk in, tell the COs, hey, we love you. We appreciate you. Thank you for all you do.
Yeah.
Have a good night. Drop the charges off and leave. But anyway, so
beautiful.
I didn't tell anyone at work because you don't dare fucking tell anybody at work. Because what do? They gossip. Cops are worse. My dad used to own a restaurant. And if you're in the Dayton area, go to George's. It's wonderful. Those guys are more catty. My dad had 41 women working for him as waitresses. These fucking 10 cops I worked with were more catty, more backbiting, more gossipy than those 41 women combined.
Oh, man.
And and the worst thing about it, they were fake friends. I'm here for your brother. We're being one big family. I'm like, why would you want to be that dysfunctional? But you had to earn their trust. And sad to say, the one guy I worked with, and I was in a really bad spot. First thing he did was ran in and told the fucking sergeant. They were going to put me off duty.
Great support.
Yeah, exactly. So I twisted in the wind a lot. before I came to see you. I went back to church. Went to St. Chris there in Vandalia, and I'm named after that parish. So I hadn't been to church in years. So I thought, I need something.
Yes.
I went in, sat down in that church on Saturday night mass, and just wept.
Yes.
Sat there in the back corner, and I just couldn't shut the tears off, man. And then, of course, my kids are like, you went to church? I said, yeah. By yourself? I said, yeah, sure did. So, so to summarize, it was just me and Brian. And I would talk to Brian. Brian's like, hey, man, you doing all right? Because, I don't want to share Brian's story too much, but he went to Iraq as a contractor.
Yeah.
And really had some traumatic experiences over there.
Very much so.
And when he came back, I mean, he had fucking facial tics. I'm like, bro, you all right? No, I'm not. But I'm seeing somebody. And it ended up being you.
Right.
So he's the one that directed me to your door.
Yeah. Did you at any point in seeing me, especially, before you walked up the stairs, did you worry about anything getting back to the department?
Oh, yeah.
How'd that work in your head and your gut and so forth?
No, well, yeah, at that time, see, that was 2010, and it's 2022 now, so 12 years ago. And you just said, a lot more therapists now. There wasn't any then.
That's right.
And the absolute worst thing you could do is go in and say, hey, boss, I want to eat my gun. Oh, well, we're going to put you on fucking sick leave, and we're going to take your gun away from you, and we're going to send you down to this whatever. And the people that I've talked to that did that, they got this fresh out of school.
Yeah.
Has no idea about public service.
Yeah.
And they see this person for 30 minutes, maybe 3 or 4 times, and you're done. Bada boom, bada bing. Hey, 4 half-hour sessions, and you're cured. You can go back to work.
Wow.
Yeah, fuck you.
He or she was really good.
Yeah, exactly. and the one guy I was talking to, one of my friends, he just killed a guy. It was a shooting.
Yeah.
And he was fucked up over this. I mean, he come out of Kosovo and had killed people there, but this is a different arena.
Yes.
And this girl is just jaw dropped. I mean, just had no clue. And only thing his agency did was hit the check boxes.
Exactly.
And that's all they give a fuck about. So
yeah.
Knowing how they were.
Yes.
And the big buzz is right now, we want all this officer wellness because it's true. That's why we're doing the Shield Within.
That's right.
There is double the amount of cops that kill themselves. That's just cops. Firefighters do the same thing. EMTs do the same thing. ER nurses do the same thing. You know, your trauma gets full. And sadly for me, what my story is when I realized that suicide sounded really fucking good, we got a problem.
Definitely.
And I can tell you right now, my administration could have given 2 flying fucks. Now, they'll tell you that in their face.
Right.
But you walk up, roll that green curtain back, you know what they're doing? Mocking you, which is exactly what happened to me. I was mocked in the later part. So, anyway, I'm getting down the road too far.
No. This is good. It's perfectly reflective of this part of it because this has to enter anyone's mind.
Oh, it enters everybody's mind.
Exactly.
That's why you don't talk about it.
You come to this point where maybe you face yourself in a more, genuine way, and you see, oh shit, I need to get some help.
Yeah.
That by itself is its own mountain range to climb, and then it's like, oh shit.
Well, here's the double prong.
Yeah.
I need to get help. How the fuck am I going to pay for it?
Yes.
How long is this going to take?
Yes.
Because I got a family.
Yes.
How am I going to be able to pay for this?
Yes.
So I worked special duty or extra jobs or whatever else.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
Do you want me to go there?
Sure. Absolutely.
Okay. So I decided that I don't want to get us out of order because when we talked, you gave me your rate.
Yeah.
And I think it was your insurance rate. And I said, I'll be paying cash. And you said, okay, we'll talk about it when we get here.
Yeah.
But I decided that, if you go and you give your insurance card, you're going to have that on your on your health record. Okay,
Excellent.
It's just like if you go to the free clinic. If you guys, we're gonna be real here.
Yeah,
you go slip your dick in some whore, and you think you got something. When you go to the free clinic, don't give them your doctor's name. Because you know what they're going to do? They're going to call your doctor, and that's going to go on your fucking permanent record.
That's right.
I heard about that the other day. I laughed. I'm like, why would you do that? Number one, keep your wiener in the right places. People.
Yes, that's a good place to start.
Right. So I paid you cash.
Right.
So
exactly, and that.
But I haven't been in the door yet. So I got ahead of us. Sorry.
It's the kind of thing where, like, as you move through counseling. And you're still paying cash, and there's been no feedback to the department through the insurance system,
right?
And you're not telling anybody because nobody's earned your trust.
Correct.
So, was confidence held?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And
I think
confidence was held because it's the limited amount of people you tell.
Yes.
It's like I tell people about social media. God loves social media, face your problems. Don't fucking Facebook them, because people are just there to read the comments and make fun of you.
That's right.
So if you throw it out there on Facebook, remember, you got about a 50% chance, or 50% of the people reading your comment is mocking you.
That's right. Which is just so supportive and wonderful.
Yeah, exactly.
God.
Okay. All right. So
we're at the point. Did you, at any point during counseling, tell your wife? Or your children? I
did. It's been fucking 12 years ago, David.
Yeah.
Yes, I did share with them.
Okay.
That look, I'm fucked. And I'm going to counseling.
What was their reaction?
Whoa, really?
Disbelief.
Yeah, shock. Wasn't just really shock. Yeah, it's like shock. Hey, Dad's going to church. Dad's going to counseling.
Woo.
Was
it? Did it discourage you? Their reactions?
No, not at all.
Okay.
It was very supportive.
It was very supportive,
right,
positive,
exactly.
encouraging.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Okay. Between the time you started and the time you finished, did you tell anybody at work?
Fuck no.
And
fucking hell no.
And
hell to the fuck no. I can't say that strong enough.
There's, again, going back to your foundation, at no point did anyone earn your trust.
At the department?
Yeah.
Yeah, a couple of people did. Absolutely.
People did.
Yeah. My old crew.
But you still kept it to yourself.
At that point, yes. At that point when I was an officer, I did not share any of that.
Share with anything.
Well, because the one guy I did make friends with and trusted, he instantly betrayed me.
Okay.
Yeah, and no one else was like... only in government, and cops are the worst. I loved being a police officer.
Yeah.
It was the best fucking job I ever had.
Yeah.
I love my other cops. I really do. Sadly, cops are the worst to one another. There's a saying in police work: I trust you with my life. I won't trust you with my wife.
Whew, man.
Cops are constantly trying to fuck one another's old ladies, and that's just horrible. Or they share girlfriends, or, and what a lot of this is trauma resolve. You find your trigger. Some cops drink, some cops do drugs, some cops smoke a little weed, some cops gamble.
Yes.
Some cops fuck around.
Yep.
That was me.
Yeah.
When it got that bad, I personally took a fucking wrecking ball through my life. Yeah. And then fired the flamethrower up. Knock the house down and then fire up the fucking napalm. Yeah, this ain't fucked enough. Let's hammer it some more. But, I was the director of that 3-ring circus, and I'm the one that brought the whole fucking family life torn apart.
Yeah.
So, the thing about it is a lot of good cops that have a good, strong family life.
Yes.
As I've observed,
yes,
is that a lot of strong police relationships is that they're either married to nurses or teachers. Empathetic,
Yes.
nurturing,
Right.
and that's what, not that my wife wasn't any of the above,
Right.
but my wife's a strong woman.
Yes.
And she's very opinionated. And we tend to, what do we want to say, magnate towards that type. My mother was the same way.
Yes.
And that's familiar. So you tend to move towards being familiar.
Absolutely.
Okay. So that's how my relationship went. But she's very loving. She loves me dearly. Still does to this day, even though I've just been horrible. But she also realizes that I got some work to do. And getting that work done is paramount.
Yes.
So my crystal ball is broken. I don't know what the future holds.
Right.
But, we know what we want to do.
Right.
So anyway, we've been all over the board.
Yeah.
We didn't stay on our agenda that we talked about.
But that's okay, bro. I think it reflects a part of the truth that as the trauma experiences accumulate, as the need to confront them becomes imperative, it's just like screwing everything up. You can't take care of this thing, this set of things, this cluster of things that have happened and stay in your head and keep you from sleeping and make you generate energy to move you towards stuff that is completely self-defeating.
Right. Oh, yes.
That when all that comes to the forefront, you realize, oh my God, I have to do something. Then there's this period of time where you debate within yourself, find somebody like Brian, connect to a resource, wait for the door to open. Meanwhile, your things are deteriorating. So by the time you walk in the door, oh man, are you ready to get going?
So let's talk about you want to talk about your perspective of me walking in the door, or are we still on my side?
Let's do let's go to that. Like,
let's wrap the show up with that.
Okay, we'll show that sounds good.
All right, very good.
Very good.
Me walking in?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I want to dovetail this into my entry into EMDR.
Excellent.
All right. So December 2010, I walk into this big, beautiful home. Or was that a house at one time?
Yes, absolutely.
That fucking thing is gigantic.
Yes.
And whoever lived in that thing had to have 100 kids. But anyway, it's huge, huge home up in Sydney. So I go up this big, beautiful restored staircase. David's office is at the top to the right. I walk in the door. It's very elegant. I can't say it. Elegantly decorated in early. What was that style?
Probably.
It's like early American.
Yes, that's good.
You had a really nice couch there, really nice matching. Was that your stuff, or did the owner of the house have it?
No, that was the owner.
Okay,
yeah.
Beautiful desk there. You were sitting there, and you turned around and you looked at me, and you smiled as you're doing now. Mark, yeah, that's me. Come on in, have a seat.
Exactly.
And I remember you just like, so what brings you in?
Exactly. And then it goes from there. And what I'm thinking next episode, we're going to talk about more about what actually happened in counseling. The session that we had at EMDR, we'll talk maybe a little bit more. We mentioned that last time, but maybe a little bit more about that. And then I really want to emphasize, like, the impact of, that you've described it eloquently, the wrecking ball to your life. So, like, as you're going through the counseling,
right?
What do you see the impact of that on your life as you're going forward? And then, a number of months in, we finally do EMDR. Then what?
It was 2 years, bro.
And then what impacts did you see on your
Oh, my
life?
God. EMDR changed my life.
Right. And I really want to get into a lot of the specifics of that, because I know your wrecking ball hit everything.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm guessing the positive growth aspects hit everything too.
Oh, yeah.
And touching how therapy transformed you. I looked back over your notes today.
That's fucking scary.
and it's like,
guys, we're not talking about my notes on the show. We're just going to say that.
That's right. But I remember so clearly what happened the day we did the safe place.
Oh, yeah.
what happened to your body when we just did the safe place? And we can talk more about the EMDR and where the safe place, what role that has in the next episode.
That was one of my leading questions for those listening, and thank you again so much for listening to The Shield Within, was what is EMDR? And tell me more about this. And only thing I can say, and we'll summarize with this, there's life before EMDR and there's life after. Life after EMDR is so much better. The air is fresher, the coffee is richer, the bourbon is better, life is better after. And like I said in an earlier episode, I was scared of it. That's why I didn't do it.
Right.
And to wrap up before you take us out, I asked you, why do I need to do this? And you reached over and grabbed that thick notebook and you flipped it back to page 1 and you said, this was our first session together. I knew that day you needed this.
Yeah. It just takes us a while to get there, bro.
It does.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Not at all.
Everybody's got their own timing. And just to add on to what Mark said at the beginning, I am a part of a national network of therapists. So if you're anywhere, at any day listening to this and somebody shared it with you and passed it along, I can connect you to somebody in any zip code in the United States, virtually. So contact us on the Facebook, on the website. Let us know you're having trouble finding somebody. We'll work on that for you.
Yeah, direct message on Facebook. Remember, The Shield Within Facebook / The Shield Within.
Beautiful. May your days and nights find you strong and safe. May you take your place as your family's face. As you do the shit that we won't do, as you embrace the risk you must go through, may you grow in strength and heal and find your heart, your soul, and your mind. You look at your life and grin. You have a home. It's the shield within.